Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I'm a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on September 13th, 2022 at approximately 4:14 a.m. Now, hopefully things will work. I don't even know. It says I'm online, but I've been fighting for the last hour trying to get online here. And while the computer's been telling me I'm offline, I've been working online, so I have no idea what's going on. Right now, I'm just waiting to see if anything kicks in so I can actually get my own feed up here. But in the meantime, I returned to this world for one primary reason, and that is to remind everyone in existence that working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. Now, the sad reality of it is going to take a lot of work. Okay, now I bill myself as a spiritual guide because the tools I offer people are the exact same tools I personally use, and the philosophies of life that I talk about are the ones I personally live by. Now, this is absolutely amazing. This says I'm online, but I have no idea whether or not I am. So I'm just playing it by ear. I'm not betting on being on here a long time today, simply because I can't tell if I am online, and I'm just not about to take the time to work that through. Now, according to this, well, who knows? Anyway, assuming I'm online, I am simply going to go ahead with this. Okay. Now, I'm telling you something I do have to point out, okay, because it's becoming painfully apparent that people are finding new and exciting ways to point out differences between each other. Now, I don't understand entirely the reason why, because every individual. Thank you so much, Isabel. Welcome aboard. My computer is telling, on the one hand, my email will not update. I've been trying for the last hour to get online. It keeps telling me I'm not online, and yet I'm able to get to some sites, and then they don't work when I get there. Well, you can't even, in my understanding, get online, to find any of the sites. But here I am. I've tried booting this thing. I've tried going online 4 times, restarted it 4 times, the entire computer, the whole 9 yards. But I could go on to a rant about that. The reality is I can't get a hold of anybody live as far as technology goes to get any of this sorted out. And I do mean that from people that I personally know to major companies, or minor ones for that matter. So I'm kind of playing this by ear, okay, and just trying to figure it out on my own, which I'm not having a lot of luck with. If you think about it, if you think about the reality behind it, the one thing we have to remember is I've been fighting with computers since 1979, and I still can't get them to work properly. But when we take a look at the differences between humans, or what people seem to think are the differences, how about if we look at the lack of differences? Everyone eats. If you don't eat, you starve to death. Okay, everyone sleeps. If you don't sleep, all sorts of nasty things happen. Okay, if you're in a good mood, if people are happy, they tend to smile, regardless of what nationality they are. Okay, if you're unhappy, you tend to frown or cry. These are all things that no matter what your nationality, no matter what your income, no matter what your orientation, doesn't matter, you're all the same. However, the thing that is very clearly becoming a problem is the apparent indifference of people. Okay, I mean, people are absolutely proving to be totally indifferent to each other. And that is where the big problem comes. Okay, we have technology going on here. Okay, and they're talking about wiping out cash. And they haven't even got the internet working right so it will actually handle the cash flow. It's kind of like going electric. If you eliminate all of the gas, first and foremost, let's be honest, you wipe out the gas, you wipe out the oil industry, which is what people keep talking about, because we've got to cut inflation, we've got to cut off the pollution and what have you. Now, I agree with cutting off the pollution and the inflation. The stupid part is that the simplest method in the book, if people desire inflation to stop raising prices. And, yes, that's an oversimplification. But the reality of it is, if people don't actually start taking a simple approach to things, they're going to run into major problems. Okay, and I mean, we're already running into them, so that's okay. You know, one of the biggest things, this is neat. I'm glad you told me I'm online because I cannot get the upload, I cannot get a connection here at all as far as letting me see what's coming through. But we have to realize that it's the indifference of people. You take a look at simple sites like your social media. So many times people are going, look, this is something embarrassing that these people don't want you seeing. Please look at it. Without even considering what they would feel if somebody did that to them. You know, I mean, all in all, it's an absolute disaster from my end, but it is heading to a very simple outcome. And therein lies the problem. Because the outcome is the same as what happened in Rome. Now, I'm not about to sit here and tell you that the world is coming to an end. A friend of mine put it really simple. The world will come to an end. Okay, he figures if his calculations are right. Sorry about that. If his calculations are right, the world should come to an end in about 5 billion years. Now, I don't know about you, but 5 billion years down the road isn't going to matter a whole lot to this body. What we have to take a look at what we have to take a look at here is that people don't start treating each other with a reasonable amount of connectivity, a reasonable amount of communication, then we are going to continue as a society to collapse. And that's just the way that's going to go. The biggest problem that we have at this point is, on the whole, and I will still stand by the idea that saying that 95% of the population are decent people. Unfortunately, apathy is the biggest disease that we've got right now. Now, I heard somebody talking the other day, we just get through COVID and somebody comes up with another illness that is now running rampant. Can we stop spreading the word that everything has to be feared? Because I'll tell you, if you continue down that road, if we continue walking down the road going, fear everything, the world's ending, oh, the sky is falling. Remember that funny little story about Chicken Little? Okay, if the sky were falling, you would be seeing meteors landing on the doorstep. Okay, and no, there is not going to be some genius coming down here and picking up a few of you and saying, hey, you're special. Not going to happen. The special people are the ones that reach out and help those around them. Malu, good morning. Glad you could join us. I have been having massive problems with technology as of late. I tried getting on here an hour ago, and it took me this long to get here. You know, but I've got to look at the reality of what's going on with people's indifference. Okay, you're all essentially the same, and none of you are taking your material stuff with you when you die. Okay, it's just that simple. Okay, this is one of those things that when we look at the world and everybody keeps going, hey, I don't identify as that. Bad news, people. And yes, I've reached a point now where I'm just not going to worry about if I upset somebody, because the reality is being nice about it, being understanding, people are not paying attention to, and it is getting worse. Okay. Now, I turned around, and if you look on my desk behind me here, okay. Yeah, if you look on the desk, I've been sorting out stuff that I'm just getting rid of. This desk itself will be going because it's too big for my area, for my table, and for my room. But if we continue going down this road where the spiritual guides, where the religions of the world are almost unilaterally going, God is a vengeful God, be afraid of him. And I don't care if you call him God, Allah, or Shiva, or whatever. If your priests, if your spiritual leaders are standing there telling you your creator is vengeful, is vindictive, is absolutely an angry individual, but worship him, you may want to think about who you're following. Now, I'm not going to tell you, period, that I will not tell you that first and foremost, God needs you. Sad to say, he doesn't. He created everything you see. If you believe in the creator, he believes everything, or created everything you see before you ever even came into existence. Okay, that's just the reality of it. And the people that are sitting here telling you that, your creator created everything except evil, well, you can't have both. Now, you're going to have to pardon me. I can't get my feet up on my computer. So I'm having fun. Whoa. The parliament is about to vote on whether tree or wood is a natural type of energy. Okay, so IQs have dropped to an absolute unmitigated low. Okay, we have governments going, is wood a natural type of energy? Well, technically, the answer would be no. Fire is the energy. Wood is simply a source. Okay, if you want to look at it that way. But what are they going to do? Ban fires altogether so you can't even have wood stoves in your house? Brilliant. This is like the geniuses that have come up and said there are now 52 genders in existence, and let's pick what gender when you're born. I believe somebody went and took the wrong pill. And yeah, I know some of what I'm saying is likely to get this pulled. Okay, I'm absolutely certain of it, because the reality is being nice isn't making any difference. If I'm going to sit down and play a video game and stream it, you get hundreds of thousands of people watching. If I'm going to sit here and tell you fear everything around you, you get millions of followers. Okay, quite honestly, more often than not, I'm sitting here going, I'm talking to the wind. Okay, I'm a tiny little ant, and realistically, I am. I'm one individual on a huge world, and I kid you not, I'm looking at what people are doing and going, how can you possibly think this is going to work? If good morning, Wendy, glad you made it. The sad part about it is, if we look back, if you look in spiritual teachings, whether you want to call it Sumerian texts, Christian texts, I don't care. But if you're going to sit there and talk about Sodom and Gomorrah or any facsimile thereof, and go, these people were being absolutely stupid, they were hurting each other beyond recognition, this is a good thing. Okay, but my sitting here trying to be nice has not worked. Okay, and quite frankly, and this takes it a little outside of the norm, but in my world, this is the reality. I used to be able to sit down to a gaming table playing Dungeons and Dragons, and at least the gamers would try and work together. Now I'm not even seeing this. People are going one-on-one. You want the end of the world, you're standing in the middle of it. Okay, people are being so absolutely stupid, and there is no nice way to put it, not that I'm aware of. Okay, if somebody can figure out a better word than stupid, okay, then let me know. Because take basic biology. You got 2 genders, period. Okay, you don't have 52 genders. Whether you identify as a stick of wood doesn't make any difference. It doesn't make you a different gender. It's kind of like these geniuses that keep going, oh, this color matters. Well, no, life matters. The moment you specify a color or a quantifier, you're immediately showing your prejudice, not everybody else. You are. And yeah, that's going to upset some people. Okay. The people that talk about, oh, my ancestors were brought over in slave ships. Absolutely, they were. But it was the black people that sold the black people to the white people in the first place. Sad news. Native American Indians, North American Indians, and the black people over in Africa, they rely, and so did the white people for that matter, they have relied on slavery, on domination. There is no nationality that is different. Okay. No, you're absolutely correct. Nothing can. The fact of the matter is, people call it politically incorrect. Well, I'll tell you, I'm about as politically incorrect as you can get. Okay. Now, I've said things to bosses that I wouldn't recommend. Okay. Over the years, I have told bosses to get out of the kitchen. Okay. When I was working in hospitality, I actually threw a couple of them out. Never got fired for it. Have no idea why. But, I've tried being nice about it. Okay, I've tried modifying my computer system or my internet access and what have you. I can't even get a hold of a live person anymore. These geniuses, there's some absolute bonehead in my eyes. Apparently it's over in Eastern Europe. They came to the conclusion that humans are not necessary anymore because computers will do everything. Well, bad news. That may be correct. But I will tell you, wipe out the humans and we have a problem here. The genius that came up with that idiotic idea, quite frankly, forgot about the fact that he too happens to rely on being here. I mean, granted, he may not be necessary. Okay, we can go into all sorts of things that are just propagating absolute, total stupidity. Okay, let's start with the other side of this. Okay, when we start talking about what, how society is, we'll start with the idea money is the root of all evil. No, money isn't. In case you hadn't noticed, people without money are just as volatile as people with, and much as the finger is often pointed at the poor for crime, poor people do not commit international corporate crime. They just don't. They don't have access to computers. And I am so sick of people reaching out to me from so-called poor countries on computers, screaming that they're poor. Give me money. I'm poor. I'm starving to death. I've got 15 cats and 3 adults, and we're all in a house and we can't eat. They're on a computer. Okay. This is, and even, I just opened my own website to let people know about the books I've written. Now, maybe I'm doing something. No, definitely I'm doing something wrong. The biggest mistake I made, in my opinion, is I tried being nice about this. There is no nice way to tell people you're being absolutely stupid. Okay, you know better. You've got the history to look at it. And by the way, for you wonderful, smart people that think that destroying art and destroying ancient artifacts and ancient buildings is actually going to wipe out history, you might want to think again. Okay, has destroying anything that you personally have done made you forget it happened? Okay, if you were in a car accident and your car got destroyed, okay, did it make you forget that you were in that car accident? Did it make you forget if a house burns down? Does it make you forget that there were people living in that house before? Okay, living on that now empty lot. Okay, this is the stupidity that mankind is going through. Okay. And that I agree with there, Malu. Malu's just said, stop trying to destroy history. It will only make us remember that much more or that much stronger. Now, here's the thing. Okay. I listen to it all the time of people saying, the creator created everything except evil. Well, sorry, you're either creating everything or you're not. I do like the t-shirt, and it does say something very clearly. Okay. God must love stupid people. He made so many of them. And I'll tell you, the numbers are mounting. 10 years ago, I was looking at a statistic, and I know, I've mentioned what I think of statistics, but assuming they're even remotely accurate, 10 years ago, the average so-called first world IQ was 100 to 110. Just earlier this year in 2022, okay, they posted a new one. The average has dropped to a mind-boggling 85. People are getting stupider, and they're getting stupider by choice. Okay, you're walking in, you're listening to the Yldrbac, and in 1956, when this came out, when the TV became public access, okay, they called it the Yldrbac because people stopped thinking, and now they're stopping even more. Okay, now, like, I got my first computer back in 79. I still can't make them work properly. I thought about apologizing for being annoyed with the whole world right now, but it's because the world is being absolutely stupid. Okay, war has never brought peace, ever. And honestly, it doesn't do a thing for the economy. It does something for the people making the guns now. It does something for the politicians whining about whatever they want to whine about. Okay. And I'll tell you, we go there, and let's go down the other road. Okay, and yeah, I absolutely know that people are going to get annoyed with this. And I've already figured out that the odds are that if I take this road, okay, but I called this a journey, this whole line, the journey, for one reason. This is a journey. This is a wake up. Now, whether it's a wake up for you or not, I don't know. Is it a wake up for me? Absolutely. Okay. But I've come to the conclusion that trying to do things on a nice way, people aren't paying attention. Inflation is still going up. People are still shooting each other. I listened to one kid came out with a brilliant comment. He said the school shootings that are happening all over the states right now aren't because the kids want to kill each other. It's because they're not being listened to. Okay. And I don't mean just in one ear and out the other. If I could get people to actually think, I'd be so much happier. But this is why I became reclusive years ago. And to be frank, I have quite seriously considered throwing the entire computer system out, except for what I'm using in the way of my writing. I've considered very seriously and pulling the plug on all of this because people are not listening and it is continuing to get worse. Okay. People are continuing down this road of degradation, of manipulation, the whole 9 yards. Yeah, I'm looking at what you're writing here. That's why I'm leaning forward, because I still have not had YouTube still has not sent me the uplink. So I wonder if I can find it the other way. I'm not holding my breath on it, mind you. Let us see here. If we go there, I'm just going to see if I can pull it up going through a back door, because it is not cooperating. Which does annoy me, to say the least. So what do we got here? Just going to try and find and see if I can get it online here. Okay. Well, don't know if that's going to work or not. Oh, there we are. That might, oh, look. Have to go through a back door, and that way I can actually read what's coming up over here. Have to go through a back door, and that way I can actually read what's coming up over here. There we go. I finally got it working. Yeah, and I agree with oh, well done, Malu. You know, the one thing I find about diaries is it gets you to think. Now, this sort of works for me in a sense. I was writing a diary, and then I came to the conclusion, considering the number of people that had asked me to come online. Of course, the reality is the way I've had to go, and I'm not forced to go this road, but the reality is if I continue sitting back and just saying, hey, all you got to do is talk to each other, that is all you have to do. Okay, people simply have to open the door and start completing things, start connecting with people, whether they are people from your past or not. I gave up trying to reach out to people from my past because the people from my past that I thought I had a connection with, I went through a real rough time a few months back. Okay, you know. Greetings, Starflower. How are you? You know, a few months back, I went through some real rough times where it came to mentally looking at things. And I must have reached out to 36 people that claimed to be friends that I'd known for years. And I heard from virtually none of them. And the only thing I really got told was push through it. That was the end of the conversation. So I've just looked at it and went, okay, my past is done. I'm finished looking backwards. But when I look forward, I have a young lass down in the States I intend on marrying. My 2 kids that I brought into this world, I am going to continue working with. Okay. And other than that, I've got a couple of primary focuses. One is getting my other half across the border. Because, you know, the reality is when we first connected, I just flat out told her, I'm not moving, period. I'm not. That's not open to discussion. Okay. Now, yeah, that may sound like I'm being stubborn, and I probably am. I'm also no longer reaching out to people from my past going, hey, you know, I'd like to reconnect. I'm done with it. Okay. I went to my 40th anniversary grand reunion. Not anniversary. Okay. I certainly hope so. There's a couple of things that are in the way there. But thank you very Malu. Very, very much, Malu. I did get go ahead from her to find the ring I was going to use. Lo and behold, welcome aboard. And we have Football Cat. The reality of it is, I could say, I was going through some serious complications, but the indifference of people, people talk about, oh, we're really happy you're here, and I'm not talking about you guys right now, because some of you have been here right since I opened the doors. Okay, I'm talking about people from years back, not the ones because this is my current life. And have I considered, with the amount of complications that I've run into, have I considered just shutting everything down and doing exactly what I did some 30 years ago and cut my connection with everybody? Okay, I really did. I mean, 30 years ago, I actually told my own parents if they didn't start if they didn't stop, rather, asking how I got to certain positions, financial positions, I was just going to quit communication. I would disappear off the map from them. And I'll tell you, I am so close to doing that right now. I even considered, because of what I saw at the gaming table the other day, gaming table being when I play Dungeons and Dragons. Okay, and I've been doing this since I was 13, an average of twice a week. But because of the stupidity that I've been witnessing, even there, I seriously considered shutting the whole 9 yards down and walking away from that as well. The fact of the matter is, the unmitigated stupidity of the people on this planet is no longer an acceptable thing. You want to go to a church, you want to go to a temple, be my guest. You do require the social interaction. Lord knows I am the last person you want to talk to about socializing, because I go to one restaurant and there's only 2 or 3 waitresses there that I talk to, and the owners. But I go to one restaurant in the city and that's it. Okay. I have 2 friends that come over and that's it. Okay. So for me, disappearing off the map really wouldn't be that big of a problem. Okay, does it upset me that the world is going to such a stupid degree? Does it upset me? You bet. The schools are pushing people through the system so fast. You've got idiots coming out the other end. Stands to reason. You put idiots at the front line, and I mean idiot because and I know that's an offensive word. It's kind of like telling people they're retarded. Look in the dictionary. Retarded really boils down to you think slower, respond slower than the average individual. So I'm sorry if telling somebody they are retarded when you're stating it as a fact, not as a derogatory comment. Okay. And there are different ways you can tell somebody that their thinking is retarded, and it's slow. Now understand, I'm not trying to get people to think like I do, because the reality is that's pretty much an impossibility. I literally see the world from the standpoint of the positive, the negative, and the neutral all at the same time. Okay, not jump back and forth between them. Okay, so do I expect people to understand that? No. Accept it? Certainly. But the one thing that I can guarantee, there's only 2 things I'll guarantee. Okay. 1, I won't lie to you to make you feel better. And I've been unfortunately essentially doing that by not coming right out. Yeah, well, that's the thing, Malu. Everybody does. But here's the thing. It depends on what it is. You've got to learn to either beat it or accept the fact it's there. I've got a friend that is he's a clinical paranoid schizophrenic, and he looks at it and goes, I feel better because I'm on medication. Now, there are some medications that work, and I'm certainly, the one thing I won't do is sit here and tell you the pharmaceutical companies are the problem. They're not. Okay, they come out with all kinds of what I consider toxic things, and even they consider, but they'll tell you, here's this tiny little thing it does to help you, and here's a whole list of ways it's going to kill you. Please buy this. and people buy it left, right, and center. Okay. Now, I'm not going to blame the I'm not going to blame the pharmacies for doing that, the pharmaceutical companies for that. It's kind of like whoever the genius was that came up years ago, I think it was years ago now, with the Tide Pod Challenge. Okay, yeah, he tried something stupid. Okay, he goes, gee, try eating this toxic substance and see how many you can eat before it actually kills you. Now, he came up with the idea. Okay, or she did, I don't know. It's not his fault that everybody stood there and jumped in on that all those people jumped on the bandwagon. Okay, Canadians developed a game called lawn darts, and some of you may remember this. Okay, and basically it boiled down to a weighted spike that you threw across the field, much like throwing a horseshoe. And then one genius drunk individual, okay, threw it straight up in the air and killed himself with it. Now, why, pray tell, was the entire game? Why did some other, quite frankly, idiot that had control over laws and what have you? Why did that get pushed through? That it got banned? Because one drunk moron turned around and threw it in the air. Okay, when I was growing up, if somebody had an allergy, you learned how to deal with it. The people in positions of power, as in the teachers, the counselors, the principals, they were taught how to deal with it, and the kid was taught how to deal with it. Okay. Nowadays, I remember when my son was when my youngest was in elementary school, which would be about a decade back now. Okay. One kid in a school of like 600 people was allergic to kiwi. So instead of that kid being taught to stay away from kiwi, the whole school was told they can't. The neat little thing, I never understood why I put a name on it. Don't get me wrong, Malu, I understand what you're getting at. From my standpoint, I've just reached a point, I've just reached a level in my life where I look at it. Guess I should have been more accurate on that, but I think you got the point. I'm referring to the kiwi fruit. Okay. The neat little kiwi bird. Now that's a cute little animal. But I've been doing my best to bite my tongue, and I swore I wasn't going to go down this road. Okay, I swore that to myself, not to anybody else. But the reality is, I can sit here and I can listen. Once a week, people come out and go, fear the creator because he is a vindictive, vengeful individual that you should really respect and worship. I'm sorry, but every time I see a human beating the stuffing out of somebody, the last thing I want to do is bow down and kiss their feet. Now, I'm a pacifist. Okay, but if you look at the books I write, I don't have a peaceful mind. I just have a tendency of biting my tongue, which you wouldn't know that today. The reality is people have become absolutely indifferent, not only to each other, but to the world at large. Okay, and you can tell this because of the way that they're treating each other. Okay, it doesn't seem to matter. You bring people on, when people hire, when a business owner hires a staff member, okay, they offer a job at a given wage. That new staff member accepts the job at that wage and then starts whining and complaining they have to do the job. Okay. And I would agree with you wholeheartedly there, Malu. I bill myself as a Christian only from the standpoint of I believe wholeheartedly in God. Okay, and the reason I like the name God is because, quite frankly, it's one syllable. I'm lazy. That's why I'm only writing 30 books. No, 20 books right now. I think it's 20. Yeah, I think it's 20 I'm writing right now. Okay. But I do honestly believe, probably more so than many, in God, in Jesus. But am I going to sit here and tell you that I'm going to wander into a church and sit down and start praying to somebody that I'm supposed to fear? I won't do that with my own boss. Okay. And where's the comparison? Well, my boss has the control over whether I am employed. Okay, and right now, because the books have not taken off, okay, oddly enough, that's what they should have been. The reality from the research I've done and from my memories is religion itself, religion and science are part and parcel of the same thing. Religion, or spirituality, if you like the label better, is there to explain the inexplicable until science can explain it. Okay, until science can figure it out. Now, do I look at that and go, science is an evil thing? Not at all. Is spirituality an evil thing? Absolutely not. But when you push one beyond the other and you totally ignore the other half of the equation, you're going to get a garbage answer. Okay. People used to say, oh, the flood never happened. Okay. You had your believers that went, yes, it did. But people on the whole went, no, it never happened. Go take a look at the pictures of Mount Ararat, where Noah's Ark was supposed to land. Okay, they found one built right into the mountain. They found a ship matching the right size. Science proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that it was there. Okay, now the other thing I keep finding is people in my community, and I know this is gonna shake up a few people's trees. Some of the most, and I'm not gonna bother with names. Okay, so don't even ask. But some of the people that I've dealt with come across so genuine, and then they open their mouth and they put their foot all the way into it. The majority of people that I see posting online are still talking. I saw it just the other day. A staggering number of people. Queen Elizabeth II passes away. This is a terrible thing for the families and for the people that relied on her. Absolutely. Okay. But then people, in my opinion, desecrated that whole event by going, she's a reptilian. No, she isn't. Okay. It doesn't take a genius to figure out that, well, apparently it does. I don't know. But the people in the UFO community are still propagating this absolute hogwash that the world is going to be invaded. Okay, and that we will be able to fight it back and unite, because Ronald Reagan years ago made the comment, maybe we need an alien invasion to give us a common threat. Well, bad news, you had the common threat long ago. What did you do with it? Totally ignored it and turned it into a capitalistic venture. Okay. The common threat I'm talking about is the people in every nation are starving. And we've got these geniuses. You take a look at the billionaires, okay, that are, like, I watched one the other day. And again, I'm going to leave it to your imagination or your research to figure out who. But I watched a real genius, absolute brilliant mind. Kudos to him for making the empire he did. But he is now billing it as, I'm here to help everybody, and just give me this money and buy this little event and it'll make you more money. I see this, I bought a plane. This is my plane. I can show you how to get that. Give me money. Well, that's how he did it. Okay. If I sit here and start going, I can give you the secret to the world. Okay, but give me money, because money's evil, so give it to me. I'll virtually guarantee, if people start doing that, I will become very wealthy. The only problem with that philosophy from my end is I've already laid it out, where a chunk of my net profit is going to be going to other people. Okay, that's just the reality behind it. Okay, and I'm sitting here looking at it going, you've got to pull your head out of the sands, people. There is no nice way for me to put this. Okay, it was once said, insanity is best described as repeatedly doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. Okay. Now, the reality of that is when you're looking at that side of it, people are repeatedly doing the same thing. I did the same thing. I tell you, don't overextend yourself. And this is why I said, I'm not perfect. Okay. I turned around and overextended myself, helping people that clearly do not desire the help. They ask for it, they whine about it, and they do absolutely nothing on their own part. Okay. Now, I have reached a point where doing that is no longer possible. And well, more to the point, I'm just refusing to do it. Okay, I've got one individual on my connections that is constantly reaching out. Now, bear in mind, he's reaching out by computer, complaining he is poor. He's got better clothing than I've got, and he's complaining he's poor. Please send me just a little bit of money. After I told him, I can't afford it. Right now, I'm not able to. And right now, I'm not. I will one day. Okay, I will never give money to somebody that sits here and go and phones me up or reaches out and says, look, I'm really broke. And I've got all these things I'm having that I do not require. Now, do not get me wrong. I am not saying you should become reclusive. Lord knows I'm very tempted to it. Okay. And the sad part of it is that humans have to, you've got to get it through your heads that if you continue blaming other people, I listened to a guy a while back, and he sits there and goes, my wife is forcing me to drink. And there are so many people that do this. You're making me drink. You're making me do drugs. And I got news for you. Unless the person is holding you down and injecting you or stuffing pills in your mouth, you're doing the drug taking. You're the one responsible for drinking. Now, I used to drink at 26 or a night. I never even blinked at it. And I quit counting lines at 6. So am I perfect? Absolutely not. On the plus side, and don't ask me how I pulled this one, though I used to speed a lot, not once did I get a speeding ticket. Got a couple of warnings, but never once did I get an actual speeding ticket, which I'm quite happy with. So can I tell you how to deal with the stress of going into court because you've been brought up on charges that frankly you shouldn't have been doing wrong in the first place? Absolutely not. Okay, and that brings us to this other neat little problem. When you're looking at the law, whatever the law is written, you don't have to agree with it. You absolutely don't. I don't agree with a lot of the laws that are out there. Okay, but I will tell you, I don't want to bother with the hassle. Follow the laws of the land in which you are. Okay, the number of people out there that get into different enforcement, and I've seen this done. Okay, people talk about the police doing the wrong thing. I've seen fire marshals park a non-emergency vehicle in front of a fire hydrant. Now, they know better, okay, and they do it anyway. Okay, this is just absolute inconsiderate, totally inconsiderate. That came out really well. Okay, if the people enforcing laws are not following them, there was a politician that says, I'm going to go on welfare on their income and live for a month on what they make, just to prove how much they are fine with. The guy lasted a week and went, no, he says, people on welfare, people on social assistance, they've got lots of money. They're fine. They don't need any more money. I'm going back to my normal way of doing things, which, by the way, boils down to spending other people's money your money. Now, don't get me wrong. Taxes are absolutely imperative. Okay, they are absolutely imperative because we have a society and there are things that I'm pretty certain you like. Okay, you like the idea of having paved roads. You probably like the idea that you have electricity. If you're on this computer, I can guarantee you like the idea that the oil industry is there. And it's amazing how many people that use computers will turn around and go, we've got to stop the consumption of oil. Shut the oil companies down. And what's going to happen to the computers? Since they are made of oil products. Okay, they're based on the oil industry. Okay, this is what I'm talking about, people getting stupider by the minute. Now, yes, I know that is an insulting word to some people. If it applies to you, okay, if you get upset about it because it applies to you, then so be it. If it doesn't apply to you, if you're using your brain, if you're one of these people that is out there trying to help other people or other plants or other animals, okay, then it doesn't apply to you. Don't take it on. It's not my, all I can do is state what I'm feeling. I bit my tongue the other day, and I should have said this earlier. But when I was sitting there in my office the other day and got so wound up over the stupidity of this world. Okay, the fact I cannot get a hold of the corporations that I have to rely on for my utilities and what have you. I can't find a live person to talk to, period. Their automated system doesn't work for me. So I cannot get it corrected. The company that I've been getting to do my books, I got the new book back that they corrected. Now, these are people that are, frankly, in my eyes, absolutely, and I've got to talk to them because the only way I can explain it is absolute incompetence. Okay, total disregard. Total disregard for people for what they're claiming. They're not doing their job, period. And the fact that I have to go back again and say, look, you didn't do the job right. It doesn't take much to figure out. Okay, it really doesn't. I'm not going to get up and go and get it. But the reality is, if you tell somebody, I've got a series of books that is 12 long and the whole spine has to make one picture. Does it take a genius? Does it take something saying? Does it take somebody else sitting down and holding their hand and going, look, put the two books together, match up the spinal column and the spinal arch? Does it take a genius to figure this out? Okay, this is why, and it was thinking about this sort of thing that drove my blood pressure so high that I got myself worried about causing a stroke. What I'm doing right here, you may call it a rant. Okay, and people call him, some people say, oh, he's just having a bad day and he's just ranting. Yeah, probably, except for one little detail. Don't pay attention. Give it 10 years. Don't pay attention and watch what happens. Okay, I spent an hour trying to get onto my computer. Now, if cache is wiped out completely and the computer company or a power failure happens, you're bankrupt. You don't have to declare bankruptcy, it just is. Okay, and the way the companies are handling things now, you can't get a hold of them anyway. This is, so does this sound like a rant? Probably. Does it bother me that I've gone down this road? Oh, yeah. Frankly, I would have rather been sitting here going, look, here's all the things people have done. But people don't care, it would appear. Yes, those of you that are listening in right now, clearly you're listening to what I'm saying. Why? I leave that for you to figure out. Okay. The reality of it is we have to start looking at the world and go, okay, here's all the differences. And I mean, I am absolutely appalled, if not actually disgusted, with the fact that governments are now falling prey to extremely antiquated, proven stupid moves. Okay, the people of today that are in positions of power, that, and I forget what the legal system, what the actual legal thing was, right? What the ruling was, but they repealed the law of abortion, and they said, no, you can no longer have that. We have a major population problem here. We have food shortages. We have land shortages. We have a massive rise in crime. Okay, because of these things. No, you cannot have an abortion. Now, this has got to be probably one of the stupidest things they could have done. Although I just found out yesterday, apparently, that another city has decided another government situation has decided to repeal the idea of posting bail for people accused of second degree murder, okay, of rape. It's like, go in, okay, you've got a court date, no bail, get the heck out, show up in court. Like, the people that are doing these things are going to show up in court. Okay, like, does it take a genius to figure out that this is a stupid move? And yet, these are the people that are being elected into positions. Okay. When I was growing up, okay, my father built a youth group in a church, in a broadband Protestant church. Broadband because we were military. So every 3 or 4 years, we'd get a new pastor from a different denomination. My dad built a youth group, took it from 40 people. Okay, and I think I've got the numbers right. I know I've got the ballpark right. Took it from 40 people to 240. And the way he did it was he said, look, it's a youth group, meaning if you're between 6 and 18, come and join us. Come and work with us. We are Christian-based, so we do focus on that. Take that into consideration. But regardless of whether you go to church at all or whether you believe in Christ, if you fall into that category, okay, if you fall into that, come and join us. If you're over 18, come and give us a hand. We need volunteers to help. And then we had one pastor that came in and said, if you're not of this specific denomination, get out. Okay. Now, that was when my whole family walked away. Yeah, and this was bound to... Yeah. Oh, that's what it's for. In order to make... Malu is just saying it's in order to make the states vote for themselves. So they're literally separating the U.S. There's a brilliant idea. Let's undo 200 years worth of hard work. Let's revere our ancestors and let's totally decimate everything that was done so we can start over. You know what? That was done once before. You think they would have got the message. The monarchies collapsed. Okay. The different states, the different monarchies, the different kingdoms, they united. They took this total warring mess and combined it into solid countries. Now, it took a lot of work. It took a lot of years. These geniuses are now disassembling the United States. They already disassembled Russia. Okay. The USSR. Now they're disassembling the states. They're disassembling Canada. I'm dang certain of it. Okay. And I'm just waiting for China to start doing it. Okay. Now, the stupid part is, to me, it doesn't really make a lot of difference. What difference does it make at this point? Which idiot is running the country? They're all making the same stupid moves. And no, before anybody gets that brilliant idea, I'm not about to start running for a political seat. I tried that once. Okay. I tried it on a small scale. But the fact of the matter is, number one, I'm not interested in the fame. I'm not interested in the money that goes with it. I am interested in peace. And frankly, I'm not getting any of it, which is why I have seriously considered disconnecting altogether. Okay. It's not a question of numbers here. I mean, I'm quite happy. I've got 300 subscribers right now, which is pocket change to the thousands of people that listen, that listen to distracting things. And don't get me wrong, I go on the radio once a month, and as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to continue going on Spaced Out Radio the first Friday of every month, as long as I don't do something really stupid and Dave goes, no, we're pulling the plug. Okay. As long as that doesn't happen, rest assured, I've got no interest, no intention on ending my showing up there. But am I going to go down the road? You take care, Football Cat. Thanks so much for joining us, and do have a great day. The reality of it is, have I considered walking away from society altogether again? Absolutely. Because I've reached a point where I'm sitting here going, I'm seeing a complete disassembly of society. People talk about Canada, the US, Great Britain, these countries as being first world. Essentially, yes. Many people have. And that is the biggest problem. It's, what we've been taught is fear everything. Molly was just saying, we've sold out. And many people have. Because what we've been taught is fear everything under the sun, including fear of the sun. Okay. The people that are working in these industries are sitting there going, they're in these communities. You take a look at the gay and lesbian society. People not in that society, that are not oriented in that way, do not go wandering down the street going, hey, I sleep with people of the opposite sex. Okay. Now, yes, it needed to be brought to the surface. Women's lib had to happen because mankind was being so stupid as to think that because you're built physically differently, you can't think. You don't have the brains. Okay. I mean, they used to have a law way back, and I think it's been taken off the books, that way back when automobiles first came out, back in the 1920s, that if a woman was driving, the man had to walk in front of the vehicle with a flag warning people that a woman was driving. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm thinking this was a stupid law to put there because that just took the bullies and the chauvinists and put them in a really stupid place. I have to walk 20 feet in front of my wife who I'm abusing so she can drive. I don't know about you, but this sets up a real nice target. Yes, that's a sick way of looking at it. But I'm a firm believer that abuse in any form, as in physical, mental, emotional, or abuse of power, they are wrong. Now, am I looking to get into office anywhere? No. Okay, I've got an office all my own. This one I like. I make the rules in here. They apply to me. Okay, and if people come in here, they know, leave my stuff alone in here. Okay, and that's just the reality of it. The fact of the matter is that if people insist on remaining stupid, on doing stupid things and agreeing to stupid laws, and I do not mean break any. Do not break the laws. This is just a flat out unmitigated issue. If the law is already there, follow the thing. Personally, I don't agree with the seatbelt law, but you can bet your bottom dollar. Not only do I put a seatbelt on, but I also ensure my passengers put their seatbelts on. Okay. And the idea, you take a look later. There was a company here in town a year before COVID hit. And what they did was they brought in automated cashiers and fired a whole lot of people. I have not set foot inside that building save once when I took somebody else in that wanted to go shopping. I have not spent a plug nickel in that particular business since they did that. I do not use I refuse to use the automated cashiers in grocery stores. I just won't do it because they don't drop the price on anything. All they do is take the jobs away from people and put more money in the company owner's pocket. I don't have an interest in it. This is why I've already got laid out for me. You know, yeah, and that's the nice part, Malo, is, it's nice having a gentleman around you that will actually take care of you, or a woman that will take care of you if you happen to be male, or if you don't. But the thing is, that's an issue of communication. That's an issue of mutual respect. And that is something that is sadly disappearing off this map. Okay, common sense, I think, went out the window. You want an endangered species, try common sense. Okay. On the other hand, in that other group of people, the one called he did it or she did it or I didn't do it. These people are they are growing like rabbits. Okay, they're reproducing faster than you can possibly deal with. Okay, but we have to realize, and this whole am I going to go down the road, by the way, just to be clear, am I going to do this every day? No, because that will get boring. And quite frankly, for me, it's a redundancy I don't require. However, am I going to sit back and tolerate the idea of being nice about it anymore? If somebody asks a question, I will be honest. Okay. But I will also be I'm not about to change my words. Retarded, when you look it up in the dictionary, means slower to respond. Mentally, physically, emotionally. A retarded response is when somebody is retarded in some fashion. This is not a derogatory statement. Okay, it's no more derogatory than telling me I've got gray hair. Okay, I told somebody they had blonde hair one day, or more to the point, I referred to them as blonde. And somebody flat out told me, they said, "You're being racist." I looked at them and I said, "How, pray tell, am I being racist?" "Well, you called her blonde." I said, "Well, what color's her hair?" Okay. Now, if you want to call somebody racist, my ex-wife actually told me I was the biggest racist that she'd ever run into. The only true racist. Because everybody, and I looked at her and I said, "You want to run that by me again?" She goes, "Well, think about it." She goes, "Everybody else looks at people's skin color, their nationality, their orientation, and any other number of differentiators." She goes, "You look at the whole race and go, you're all absolutely bizarrely stupid. And all is wrong. But the massive majority of people are. You bought into this indoctrination of what's going on." Okay. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I swear. Homer Simpson would make a great politician given the IQ levels I've seen of some of these laws being passed. They were not thought out at all. I mean, I do agree with the law that was passed, and some countries apparently don't have it. Right, but where they passed the law and said everybody drives on the same side of the road, go in the same direction. Personally, this makes sense. It works itself out in nature. But mankind is kind of dense. Mankind needs a law to say you can do that. And then when mankind comes up with a law that says, "Oh, you don't have to do this thing that's worked for years. You don't have to do that anymore." People jump on the bandwagon. "Oh, I have my personal rights. I know my rights." Certainly, you have freedom of choice. You have free will. What you don't have freedom of, no matter what walk of life you're in, you don't have freedom from consequence. Okay. You can absolutely walk out in traffic. You've got the right to walk out in front of of a car moving 80 miles an hour. You absolutely have the right to do this. Okay. It's not wise because the car will run over you. Yeah, the only problem there, Malu, is there are so many politicians running for office right now that could go by the name Homer. How would you know which Homer you were voting for? But I do agree with you. My problem with that is it's not just the politicians. Okay. Everybody on the planet is a politician. Every one of you. Okay. You all have your opinions. You all have your goals. You've all got your dreams. And you've all got this desire to be better in some way. Why people found it necessary to go completely against logic and go, I'm no longer male because I don't feel that way. I don't identify with it. Well, ain't that too bad? Okay, you're still male. Look at your genetics. Look at the physical configuration you've got. Okay, there's in human society there are only two genders. Okay, because it doesn't matter what you identify with. If you crawl into one of the opposite gender, you're quite probably going to have a child. Okay, the reality is if you crawl into bed with somebody that's of the same gender as you, I don't care if you've got 52, 75, you can have 144. The way people are, what we've got is a gender problem where we are going to have something in the neighborhood, if it goes to the extreme, of 7.9 billion plus genders, assessments. Pick what you want to be. Absolutely. Here's an idea. Take a look at what you've got and pick what you desire to create, not destroy. I mean, I do agree with one concept, and it's a gaming term, right? And it goes like this: chaos, bedlam, pandemonium. My job's done. Okay, this is the way society is going right now, and this is the ongoing problem. Now, absolutely, if you desire to go to church, if you desire to go to a temple, don't care which. You want to go to a coven? Knock yourself out. Pick a group of people that you can get some sort of support from. Okay. What I've come to understand, and I saw it posted just the other day, I was showing a video. Okay. I'm not on TikTok myself, but my son is. Right. And this guy was going through this idea of if you keep living your life for other people, right? What was that? Just the color of my hair. I thought I had a fly that decided it was going to sit on my head. But anyway, he says, you're living your life for other people. When you die, you're going to be forgotten. Okay, people are going to go on with their lives. But if you live your life for you, you can be a heck of a sight more productive. You can leave a legacy. Now, I have, in all fairness, myself, I have essentially attained immortality at this point. Because what I did, okay, is I have written a book. I've gotten multiple copies of it. Actually, I've written 7 books. But the fact that they're written, okay, means they will last a lot longer than I will. Okay, I personally have a book in my possession that was written in 1850. Okay, now this was written by somebody way back, 150 years ago. Well, almost 175 now. Okay, so I've got that copy. So that person, whoever wrote it, their words are in my possession. Same may happen with the books I'm writing. Okay, but if I keep sitting back going, people are being, they need time to adjust. No, you don't need time to adjust. You don't get time to adjust. If you keep taking time to adjust, if you keep taking time to pull your head out of the sand, what's going to happen is you're going to wake up and find the world is not what you thought it was. Okay, I pulled away from people way back when I was a kid. Okay, And my rationalization of it was, if I pull back, people will grow up. I was wrong. They didn't. As a matter of fact, IQs are slumping at a staggering level. I'm watching people graduating on the honor roll that cannot make change. Period. They wouldn't know if they were making change right or wrong because they're not being taught. This is what they call the education system. Okay. And that is the biggest problem we have right now. And when I talk about the education system, I'm referring to, we start with parenting, go to the religious, go to the education, and then go to the politics in that order. And yes, I am writing a book that is covering all of that. Okay. Both as individual topics and as a combined topic. And my thought is this. I'm sitting on a lot of information that, frankly, people are not paying attention to. Now, I'm not perfect. If I was, I'd be a multi-billionaire right now. And, because of my mind and because of my mindset, a lot of the people in my community would be in a lot better shape. I absolutely encourage you to do what the churches call tithe. But I like their 10% idea. But I'm talking 10% of your net profit. Once your bills are taken care of, then look at helping others. Until then, doing so puts you right back in the boat I'm currently in, where I don't have the money to do what I require. Okay, and I will absolutely not continue doing things that way. It's just not going to work. Okay, and this is why I pulled the plug and said I'm done dealing with it. Okay, and I was just that close to saying I'm not coming online anymore. I'm shutting down Facebook. I'm shutting down the whole 9 yards, and I'm just simply going to go through things one step at a time. Live the rest of my life out. Okay, but that's not going to work either. Because if you don't step up and do something about the problem, you're part of the problem. You don't like my putting it that way? I may be able to care less, but I'm not sure how I'd pull it off. Okay. I've never been a good one for being politically correct. Okay. And I made the mistake of trying to be politically correct. But one thing I am quite happy with is even when I get agitated, I don't tend to swear. Okay, when I'm in a public venue. When I'm in private, that's a whole different ball game. Oh, not a problem there at all, Wendy. The reality is, usually when I'm working, when I'm dictating the horoscopes, because I've got somebody else that actually writes the horoscopes and actually types out the horoscopes for me. So what I end up doing is I dictate them, they get written, and then I go through to make sure everything is done right, and away we go. I do appreciate that, Malu. I came to the conclusion. I appreciate that people do respect what I've got to say. Okay, I did come to the conclusion that a couple of things I'm not going to be doing. I was that close to shutting down. Okay. I was going to shut all that down. I was going to walk away from gaming, and I came to this conclusion. Number one, if I shut down, in spite of all the technological problems that I haven't been able to get around, and even the people I've talked to that have said I can help you, I've been waiting for over a month for assistance. I'm done waiting. I'll figure it out. But I thought about pulling the plug on it. Okay. Good morning, Ange. Glad you can make it. The reality of it from my standpoint is this. I was looking at pulling out. I'm not shutting down my YouTube channel. I'm not shutting down my appearances on Spaced Out Radio. Okay. I'm not going to shut down and walk away. I've got a young lass that I have every intention in the world of bringing across this border when we can get her across, get her up here, to marry her and spend the rest of my life with her. Okay. And that's just the way that goes. I'm not even going to shut down the gaming that I've been doing. Okay. I am certain that some of what I'm going to be doing over the next little while is going to end up upsetting some people. I've even looked at it and gone, I'm looking like, let's just take a peek here so I can actually give you an accurate number. Maybe. Yep. Right now, I've got 300 subscribers. I'm quite happy with that. Okay. And if it climbs, this is great. Have I given up on the idea that I may end up there with the higher following? No. But is it a major drive for me anymore? No. What I've done is reassemble things in my own head and go, okay, I'm doing this because it works for me. If I clam up, if I continue biting my tongue and not telling people this is what you're doing, okay, there are so many people now. I've laid claim to a very simple statement that I returned to this world at this time for one primary purpose, and that is to remind people that working together, we can make it. We can make this a better world for virtually everybody. Now, there are lots of people that have claimed to be returning here from another time and saying, I'm here to lead you to the light. I am the way to get there. So come out to my compound in the middle of nowhere. I've got a fenced compound. Give me all of your money, because money's the root of all evil. So just give it to me and I'll take care of it. And just to make sure that you've got paradise, I've got armed guards all over the place. Now, here's the thing. Okay, I live in a downtown rural area. Okay, I don't leave my house much. This is very true. But I will quite readily leave my house to go and talk to somebody if they come into town and want to meet me. I got no problem with that. I don't even own a gun. Okay, I own a knife. You can see it hanging on the back over here, right about there. Okay. But quite frankly, I'm a pacifist. Okay. Now, there are some religions that are going down an absolutely stupid road. Fear the Creator, because he's vindictive, he's vengeful, he's a nasty individual, but worship him because, that's a brilliant idea. That's kind of like going, I know your father beats the heck out of you on a daily basis, but you really should respect him. And I'm thinking, no, you really shouldn't. Okay. My father was I don't have a problem with people that own guns. Guns have never been the problem. Okay. I mean, for those of you that own guns, take any one of your guns, load the thing safely, obviously follow proper safety and common sense or intelligent training, whatever you wanted. Load a gun, cock the thing, and set it gently on the table. Nobody go near it. I can guarantee that gun ain't going to go anywhere. It's not going to get up and go down the street and shoot somebody. The same applies to your car. You turn your car on, you leave it on a level spot, okay, and it's not going to run over anybody. If nobody touches it, we'll stay there. The gun, the car, they are not the problem. Okay, the problem is the people that are utilizing them. Okay. Whoa. Now, that term I've never heard before there, Malu. A gun permission. Oh, I don't need a gun permission. That's my apologies. Yeah, well, that's just it. You also don't need for people that say that guns are a problem, these people are dumber than fence posts. Let's regulate the guns because the criminals are all going to turn in their guns. This is a good idea. Bad news. In the wrong hands, that as a physical weapon is a problem. Okay, right there. And we don't need a license to have a pencil. But I'll tell you, when they say the pen is mightier than the sword, that's because people that are gifted power, and the power is handed to them. You elect them into office and let them do what they will. Okay, this is a problem, but they're passing laws that are beneficial for them. Okay, and not doing a thing for you. This idea that the more money you have, the less tax you have to pay. That is to protect. That is not to help society. It's got nothing to do with helping society. It's got nothing to do with helping the poor people. It has strictly to do with helping the wealthy. Now, they did this back in Rome. Okay. And back in Rome, they created an interesting problem. Okay. It wiped out their society because of the fact they did that. Right now, we've got countries falling apart. Okay. And I'm going to have to wind this up because I've got a couple of things I got to get done. But I do appreciate you joining me today. And it is time for people to stop being stupid. I know that's asking a lot, but it's time to really start working together. Now, I will be back again tomorrow. Okay, at least assuming technology works. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sakes, stay positive.